We begin tonight with team coverage of a developing story. A Port Panama City's East Terminal, a hazmat situation sent nearly a dozen people to the hospital.
News Channel 7's Alyssa Dutton joins us live from the East Terminal. And Alyssa, what is the latest on this situation there?
Jess, Barry, the ship Lowland's Luck is where the hazmat situation unfolded this morning. Since then, 11 crew members have been hospitalized. One is still in critical condition. Crew aboard the ship were unloading bagged cement and began cleaning one of the cargo holds with muriatic acid. Port officials said cleaning with this acid is routine. However, today, the acid reacted with cement residue and produced a gas that became trapped in the hold because of foggy weather. Port Director Alex King said this is the first incident of its kind and that officials will now focus on additional training.
It always comes back to training and awareness, and I will say that the Port Authority, we have regular training intervals throughout the year with our port staff. We train directly with the City of Panama City on fire and also with response. And then the stevedores, they have their safety and hazmat protocols as well to train their employees. And so everybody works together to make sure that we're educated and work in a safe manner.
Port officials and Bay County first responders say safety is a top priority. This was an isolated incident and there's no threat to the community. Reporting live in Panama City, Alyssa Dutton, News Channel 7. Back to y'all.
All right, thanks, Alyssa. Following today's incident at the port, News Channel 7's Emily Clegg has been in contact with local hospitals to stay updated on the workers' conditions.
And Emily, what can you tell us about the condition of the workers?
Well, Jess, Barry, we are told that 11 people are hospitalized. Authorities say 10 are stable and 1 is in critical condition. Now, 7 of those hospitalized are being cared for at HCA Florida Gulf Coast Hospital. Hospital officials report that all 7 are in good condition. As Alyssa reported earlier, port crews were exposed to muriatic acid, also known as hydrochloric acid. According to the University of Florida Health, some potential symptoms from breathing in this chemical could cause chest tightness, choking, dizziness, shortness of breath, and even coughing up blood. But Panama City firefighters say when crews arrived, workers were already showing serious symptoms. Those included chest pains and trouble breathing, starting almost immediately after the chemical exposure. Jess, Barry.
All right, thanks, Emily. And once again, this is not a threat to the public.
All right, and that scene has been cleared after a thorough investigation.